Hi guys, how's it going? Chris here again with some more Historic Brawl. Now, a while back, an idea was kind of flowing around in my head about deck construction and how generally my decks tend to rely on a lot of rares. A lot of rares and mythics to make them function remotely well. And even that, sometimes they don't function remotely well. So I decided, why not try out building some Artisan decks, and see how they fare on the queue. So I've built 3 decks. They're all commons and uncommons, and some of them are one of them is just reasonable, and the other 2 I think have potential, but results have not shown that so far. So we'll see as we play the games. This is Grunn, the Lonely King. Now, Grunn the Lonely King, I played a couple games with just to test him out. And him in particular, I think has potential, but the deck is a little harder to pilot than I thought it would be, and he gets outclassed by other options very quickly. I think Ratadrag is just gonna murder him. If our Ratadrag opponent's actually here. They might not be here, and then Grunn gets a free win, and we're happy with that, but view battlefield. So, Grunn the Lonely King, he is a 6 mana 5/5 with kicker of 3. If Grunn the Lonely King is kicked, it enters the battlefield with 5+1/+1 counters on it, and whenever Grunn attacks alone, double its power and toughness until the end of the turn. So, if you kick him, so if you pay 9 mana for him, he is a 10/10 that attacks for 20 damage, which is insane. Yeah, we're gonna keep. I'm gonna open on Haywire Might, and then we're gonna go into Flax in an Intruder on turn 2. So one of the reasonings behind some of these early game decision makings and deck building is that we kind of want to keep our opponent as close to a natural curve as possible, because our threats aren't as powerful as theirs. So if they're casting threats that are outside of our mana range, we're probably losing, right? So if we have a bunch of early threats that can actually deal with mana rocks, it should help slow down their game plan enough that our creatures will at least be on somewhat parity. Of course, we can't guarantee that they're not playing really, really powerful creatures, because this is just the random brawl queue. So, Grunn got a win. I like that. I mean, it's sturdy and cheap, but Grunn will take what he can get. He's a big boy. So green, actually, when I was building these decks, I thought that green would be the easiest to build around. And after building the 3 decks, I actually think that green beat Grunns is probably a little more advanced than the easiest. I think the easiest was actually an Izzet Spellslinger deck. Izzet Spellslinger has gotten so many just solid cards at the common and uncommon slots that we got Tamiyo's Safekeeping to protect our land in case we need to. Kenrith's Transformation for bad things. So our goal now is to ramp into Grunn. Haywire Might's actually a really good card. Probably should have put it in my, I think we're going to go Rejuvenator. We could have tried to draw into the land, but there's no guarantee that's going to work, right? I'll trade a Rejuvenator for Apostle too. Like that's trading up. So this is the Tabarak's Hope's Demise deck. It's also a really good budget deck too. Because the Shadowborn Apostles are all common, right? So that's a good chunk of the deck that you don't have to worry about rares or mythics for. Let's get rid of one of those. Actually, let's just turn off the demon. And then, like, safekeeping whatever's left over. No block. That is 5 apostles. It's pretty bad. Ornithopter. Thank you, Auto Tapper. Let's snipe down one of them. So the Haywire Might is actually not the Haywire Might. The Rune of Might is actually in the deck because the one thing that really keeps Grunn down is the fact that he doesn't have trample. Rude. You killed your own commander. There we go. Now I expect Grunn dies here, but if he doesn't, oh boy, are we in the action? Do we actually have a lot of protection for him? I think I'm gonna Tamiyo Safekeeping. Make him trade out as much as possible. I'll see if they're willing to get hit for 10. Sad but understandable. We'll cultivate. One in hand, one on the bottom, and then we'll leave up the Might, the Mind Stone, and the Veil of Summer. Like, you can see that because I was so focused on the ideal that we actually built in more interaction than normal. Yeah, I'm not letting you draw a card. Well, why did you think that was going to work? Now, they won't trade a Gix. I guarantee they won't trade a Gix. Well, this is sick. Hunter's Insight. I love you. You're one of my favorite cards now. Congratulations. Let's get an Audacity on him. And do I have a protection spell? I do, so I need to keep up 1 mana. And I think that's all we're going to do. We can discard this and this. And then we'll Veil of Summer. We'll Veil of Summer to protect our Grunn. Grunn got 2 wins. That's what I look for. Yeah, so this deck is all commons and uncommons. I didn't take the time to figure out what proportion it was commons to uncommons, because generally speaking, if you play a little bit, you're going to have a lot of commons and uncommons. Because they come in packs. They come from opening packs. Like, the most common wild cards, right? Yeah, because generally I think the decks that I so often build are not very craftable decks, right? They require some kind of extensive time commitment to Arena to actually build those kind of decks. If you want to build them like free to play. Keep. So Spinning Wheel Kick is one of the few wrath available to us in mono green, uncommon, common only range. Target creature deals its power to X creatures and or planeswalkers. You have to pay a lot to make it function, but like it's worth it. I didn't know you like Elk. And then we'll put down our Sigil of Valor. I think Sigil of Valor could be good in a Grunn deck, because Grunn has to attack alone, and he kind of likes support creatures. So if you have a bunch of support creatures out, it's just an extra 2, 3, 4 power on Grunn, which then gets doubled when he attacks. So you get like 4, 6, 8. Sorry, brain was not functioning there. You need to keep like I don't know if we get to keep our Grunn is our only issue. We dealt with the Legislator. I've always been surprised at how actually just decent this card is. Grunn, it's your time. So we're going to do a 6 spinning wheel kick here. Yeah, we'll let the ramp happen. It's unfortunate. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. You have the 4 in the mana pool. There might be lands to return. Then we'll Audacity up our boy. Then we'll swing for 14. Long live Grunn, the Lonely King. This is our game 3, isn't it? Wow, how far we've come. I mean, game 1's kind of a write-off. Generally, I just write it off and do another game, but I kind of have 3 decks I want to get through tonight. So we're going to have to draw a protection spell, unfortunately. Like, they have Crucible shenanigan, and they're doing good work. Like, this is the kind of brawl stuff I like to see. Plus the Onigiri ninja, really like that. Very cute sleeves. I approve. Are we gonna sack and get a land? No, just playing Crucible. Do they have a land drop they can play this turn? Already have, okay. Really? Sure. Gonna draw my extra card anyways. So they can't Teferi hold back the Grunn forever. Like, next turn, we're gonna get an attack with Grunn. And he's gonna get to be a 20-20. No, he'll be 18-18. Like, I commend our opponent for their efforts, but I feel as though it may be in vain unless they do something drastic here very shortly. That could do it. Like, the Grunn Grinder is coming, though. Like, if I get a creature... So we're attacking for 18 this turn. Which is a bunch of damage. We play our Garruk's Uprising. We're gonna move this over here. And then we're gonna Elvish Reclaimer. Put a tap line into play. Hey, you got a target for the field row, an opponent. So, like, the uncommon land slot's not very good. And in a lot of cases, my mana bases still need developing, especially for the Is It deck, because I feel like that one could benefit from some dual lands, right? But the dual lands you have at uncommon are all tapped. And when you're trying to play spells on turn 1, 2, and 3, having tapped dual lands really hurts your deck. So I didn't bother putting them in, although I could see arguments as to why they might be necessary. Because you're going to have a percentage of games where you just get screwed over. Yeah, like, Grunn too strong, opponent. I don't know what your problem is. We got a desert. We also have the desert that allows you to sack a desert and get +3/+3. What are they doing? Am I dead? I have yeah, I'm dead. We were very close, Grunn. I'm very proud of you. You did your job. We take 20 damage here, though, and die. And there was no way to avoid that. GG. Well, that's our first deck in our little Artisan mini-series. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.